Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars.
SoundCartel.
Innovation. Everyone's doing it, or at least trying to. And of course, some will make it and others will flame out. But what if there was a formula to innovation? Could that be the key to success? From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. Dr. Amantha Imber was never going to allow her smart and creative spirit to be boxed into an ordinary career. After several false starts where her bosses failed to appreciate her creative abilities, and following a stint in advertising where she met people who did support her creative talent, she branched out and built her own business. It's called Inventium, and it helps businesses of all sizes become more innovative. Amantha is also the author of the Innovation Formula, which highlights in clear and practical detail how we can all create a culture where innovation thrives. And we shouldn't overlook the tangible bottom line benefits of that, as Amantha Imber explains to Heather Dawson.
Absolutely. If you look at the most successful businesses and the businesses that have been able to sustain their success over many years, if not decades, innovation and creativity has been absolutely key to that. If as a business you're not purposefully thinking more creatively about the challenges that you're facing, then it's almost guaranteed that you simply won't survive.
You take a research-based scientific approach to driving innovation in business, don't you? So what does the science show?
That's right. We do take a scientific approach, and really to combat the huge amount of fluff that exists around creativity and innovation, because every man and his dog has an opinion on innovation. And normally it's just based on what happened to that person at one point in their lives at one particular organisation. So completely ungeneralisable. So really for us, we're focused on reading different journal articles every week of the year. And so there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different findings that we're exploring and incorporating into our work at Inventium to help companies drive a more scientific approach to creating innovation. Like, for example, we know that structure is really important, and actually having structures in place, which might seem counterintuitive given creativity is seen as this free-flowing thing, but instead having a structure, for example, around innovation process so that employees know what to do if they have a great idea. That kind of thing is really important.
Well, you've written a new book about it, The Innovation Formula, and you've highlighted 14 science-based keys to business innovation. Could you suggest a few more practical ideas that come out of the book?
Sure, absolutely. One of the chapters in the book is all about the impact that the physical environment or the office environment has on our ability to drive innovation. So one of the findings I talk about there is around the impact of background noise on our ability to think creatively. So what scientists have found is that a background noise of about 70 decibels, which is about the noise that you would encounter if you're walking down a busy city street or sitting in a cafe, that noise level is actually ideal for innovation because it's at that level where you're kind of a little bit distracted by the background noise, and we know that distraction is really great for enhancing idea generation. Another idea that I talk about in the book is the myth that giving people financial rewards will actually improve innovation. So again, going back to the research, what the research shows is that giving people financial rewards or cash for ideas will increase innovation and motivation for innovation, but only to a point. And after you reach that point, it actually has a negative impact on people's motivation to innovate. So instead, you want to be focusing on, certainly recognition is a really important way to help motivate people to innovate, but also on more intrinsic or deeper motivational drivers, like making sure that people feel challenged by the work that they're doing and feel a sense of purpose and feel a sense of progress on what they're working on with regards to innovation.
Now, one thing that you firmly believe in, Amantha, is that everybody is capable of creative ideas, no matter where they are in the business.
That's absolutely right. So we strongly believe and know that the ability to think more creatively is something that can be easily manipulated and easily improved. And Inventium, the consultancy that I run, wouldn't exist if that wasn't true. So we spend a lot of our time going to different organisations, doing all sorts of things, but definitely a significant component of that is building capability and running different training programs to help people significantly improve their innovation output. And certainly when we've measured our results and the ROI that Inventium delivers, it's quite normal for us to find a 50% increase on people's ability to think more creatively after we've been in.
Well, you're speaking to business owners here. So from a leadership perspective, what's most important?
One of the things that comes up as being really important in the research is setting an environment or creating a culture where risk-taking is encouraged. So when people in your business feel like they can take a risk and they can experiment and that failure is okay, it's one of the most important drivers of creating a culture of innovation. So I talk about a few different businesses that are doing that really well in the book. One of the examples comes from a very large business actually called the Tata Group. And what the Tata Group do, they have an annual innovation rewards program or recognition program. But one of the awards is actually called the Dare to Try Awards. And that's given to teams within the business that have worked on some kind of an innovation, but it hasn't actually been commercially successful, so that there's been a failure. But what's really important is that the learnings that have come from that failure have been really rich, and that gets recognised within the business.
You give a wonderful example in your book about the steps Jeff Immelt took when he replaced Jack Welch as the CEO of General Electric in the US. Tell us what happened.
So what happened when Immelt replaced Welch? It was back in 2001. It was actually 4 days before September 11 happened. So a very challenging time, to say the least, to be taking over a business and be taking over from one of the most successful leaders of our time. So Immelt knew that he had to take a different strategy to business growth than Welch had done. He couldn't possibly compete with Welch, and that would be crazy too. So for those that are not aware, Welch had really grown GE through making some very clever acquisitions and focusing on efficiency improvements. And Immelt thought that he would take a different approach and really focus on where are the new growth opportunities. So one of the initiatives that he set up to find these new growth opportunities was creating a program called Imagination Breakthroughs, or IBs. And Imagination Breakthroughs was a goal that he gave to his top leaders at GE, which basically was asking them to come up with 3 imagination breakthroughs, which was defined as an innovation that would add $100 million worth of incremental revenue to GE. And they had to come up with 3 of those every 12 months. The program was incredibly successful and within a few years had generated about $3 billion to GE. So all through setting leaders, a very big challenge, but also one that was achievable given the timeline and given that they had a lot of resources available to them to solve that problem.
That was Inventium founder and chief maker, Dr. Amantha Imber. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.